please stand for a moment of silence, and afterwards remain standing, and we will have two students come up and lead us in the pledge. And Miss Holly, if you'd like to introduce them, I know you're back there, when we finish with this. Okay.
Sure. So I have Kendall Davis, 7th grader, and I have Caden Roberts, 8th grader. And if you guys would like to go to the mic, y'all can lead the pledge for us.
There we are.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank
And I
you.
failed to mention that they have been our former students of the month, so that's how they were.
Good deal. All right, thank you. Miss Patty, do we have any public input? All right, we'll move right along then to item E, which is approval of the agenda. Please take a look. Board members, see if you have questions, additions.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Williams to approve the agenda, a second by Ms. Schultz. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion carries. That takes us to the approval of the consent agenda. There's about 5 field trips that are included on there, as well as the minutes from our last meeting. You can see the field trips are the South Middle School Mid-State Honor Band and the FCHS Honor Band, along with Huntland Interact Conference and the Huntland Middle School Interact Conference and the Huntland High School FFA Convention.
Motion to approve. Second.
We have a motion to approve by Ms. Marhetsky, a second by Mr. Williams. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion carries as well. Dr. Holman, that takes us to the director's report.
All right, so first up, tonight's spotlight on our school is North Middle School, and after which we will then have spotlight on the department, and that it will be the virtual learning through the Shields.
I always say I never know where to stand, so poor Bella gets me in her proximity. If you guys don't mind, I will track onto the screen here. So that is the most amazing faculty and staff at North Middle School. One of the highlights of our school is our personnel, so I did want to give them a big shout out. This year has just been the best mix of adults working in our building, so I do want to shout out our amazing personnel. And our school motto is educating all students to make a difference. It does look different for all of our kiddos, but we do focus on meeting those needs of all of our kids. So y'all know I like to talk, and y'all know I'm very proud of our efforts at North Middle School. I have listed several things for you to go back and review later when you have a lot of time, so I don't plan to read this verbatim, but I do want to highlight that one of our achievements is that academic focus. And so on the left side of the screen, you're going to see all of the more teacher, I guess, efforts on what we're doing with that academic focus. But part of that conversation at the very bottom, it says quarterly SWOT analysis. There's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and then that T sometimes can be a threat or a thought to consider. So from that conversation from our North Middle School personnel last year, over on the right, that is our daily schedule. So I really wanted to highlight how all of those academic student focuses come together. And what does that look like for our students? Because those are really the clientele. You know, us as adults can sit in rooms and chit chat about things, but what are our students doing during that time? And so this year we added what we call our home room. That is kind of that group of children coming together in the morning from about 7:45 to 8:10, where they eat breakfast in the classroom. This has become kind of that safe space. They come in, sometimes they focus on reading a book or a novel, so that's really increased students using our library. We do what we call the Today's First 5. It is linked in this presentation. Every day it is a huge list of check-in questions, circle questions. It has funny memes to start. So we always pull that up during that homeroom time, and then this has really increased the usage of our Chromebooks. We are checking those Chromebooks every morning and checking them every afternoon, so we can get longevity out of those Chromebooks for our kiddos. So we've added that homeroom in from that SWOT analysis. And then our academic support this year, we used to do that as a whole block within our school day. This year, we've started doing that. Each grade has a different block, and that has really opened up our opportunities with using educational assistance and with serving our students with disabilities. You're good. I thought that was me. I was like, oh no. I was like checking my pockets over here. And then the students who do not need that RTI tiered approach going from a tier 3 to a tier 2, they are in what we call this enrichment, and we do project-based learning and we do choice boards. Mr. Thames is here tonight, so I'll give him a shout out. We're going to actually use an example of his choice boards for you to see in just a few minutes. And then another change from our SWOT analysis is our lunch and physical activity. So what we've done is, and I see some of my old North babies, I don't want to see your looks when I say this, our kids get free seating, which is the first year that we let them just pick any seat where they want to sit in the cafeteria. And look at their faces, you're like, oh man. So that was not there when they were at North. But during that time, we found that letting them have that choice of who they sit with really gives that social engagement piece. And it's cut down on some of the things we had going on in our lunch that were disruptive. And then we have these interactive conversations where our cell phone policy states that they're not allowed to have their cell phones during academics and during the hallway. They are allowed to have them at lunch, but we purposely go into lunches as often as we can, usually about once a week. And we put them down and we say, hey, here's our question of the day, y'all talk about it, or we say pick this or that, which comes from our today's first 5 email. And it's one day it was chicken. Is it Chick-fil-A? Is it Raising Cane's? Or is it Kentucky Fried Chicken? And they have to debate at their table, and then they come and they bring that to the mic, and we kind of have that conversation. So making them talk to each other. And then another thing we added is a physical activity time. There was an update in legislation where they needed some more movement during their school day. This has been phenomenal. Our kids, we don't really structure it. I don't want to call it like free play. We have to have that movement piece, but it is something that really gives students a chance just to kind of get the wiggles out. They kind of put it together with that lunchtime, and so it gives a better part of our day. So our afternoon classes with our discipline is really gone down because of that addition to that physical activity time. So our proactive family engagement. Now again, y'all know I get real excited. I did want to do just some quick visuals. The way that the district did registration this year really supported parents getting on Skyward. So along with just that Skyward interaction, we have had much more communication with parents. Used to, I would say, okay, let's look at Skyward, let's see who's logged in. Now when we speak to parents, they're like, hey, I'm on Skyward, I'm looking at this, what does this look like? And so that connection has really supported students progressing more with their grades, and with parents not being surprised if we have to reach out based on different kinds of things happening with academics or really with that discipline. Screencastify, which is the one in the middle that says digital tools. I'll go ahead and tell y'all, I get real excited because it takes me at least 3 tries. I have to shut the door, I have to make sure nobody else is in the school, and then I have to start over several times. But we've started doing those also just for flyers or just for fundraisers. You know, with the parent-teacher conference flyer that's in the bottom right, we did a Screencastify. Hey guys, it's a busy graphic, but let me explain what's happening within that graphic. Our student parent handbook, that is kind of the building capacity of our adults. If they come to us with a question, hey, let me refer to this. Everyone gets a hard copy based on our title funding, but we also say, let's pull this up, let's look at this, let's see what that means. The bottom 2 are just kind of extra things, the school messenger. I do not overwhelm because I am also a parent, so when I get those calls, sometimes they go straight to that transcript, and that's okay. I just use those for the very important things. And then our Facebook page and our district website, those are 2 pages that kind of, Facebook is more for celebrations, the website is more for that specific information that needs to be referred back to. But the top one in the right, that's the one that probably looks a little different. It's what we call our Kickboard or our Power School, and this is something that North is the only school that uses that, and it's our financial literacy. So some of people call it kind of like a PB or positive behavior support, but for us it's this documentation trail for the good and the bad. So students earn money, and they can also get that money taken away, but what we do is we take that and we let them shop each quarter, so they do have some motivation behind, hey, I'm doing what I'm supposed to, I'm getting this reward, or, oh, I see how this is negatively affecting my bank account, as they call it, and then they don't get to have that shopping experience. We also use that data for support plans. So we can identify, hey, Bella has been tardy to third period 17 times. Not that Bella was ever tardy. And so we can help support what are the factors in her being tardy and things like that. So that's kind of the ways that we are making our parents and our guardians, there is no excuse for a disconnect. Everybody together can have those conversations and have the tools that they need. I do not ever want a parent to have a tool at their disposal, they just don't know how to use it. So we make sure they know that. Okay, so our other exciting thing this year is our positive environment. We as a leadership team, we as a personnel, we want people to want to come to our school. We don't want them being like, oh great, here we come back from break. We want to be like, oh my gosh, we cannot wait to get there. So we have an ownership piece from our personnel and our students, specifically with getting that student impact or input. I mentioned our Gator Credit store. I do not stock it with what I want because kids would not want to eat that. We talk to the kids. What do you want? Talkies. They all want Talkies. They want Gatorades. They want Little Debbie's. They want to sit with their friends during a class where they normally couldn't. They want an extra hall pass. We do field trips. We try to highlight places in Franklin County. The arcade on the square. We last year took a group of kiddos that bought a field trip to go to the Swimplex. So it's something special and something that they normally wouldn't get to do, but that's with the money from their Gator Credit store. We have tons of things that we're highlighting. We are definitely doing a lot with promoting extracurriculars. So in the morning, I stayed at this little cart and I got my jams going and I'm kind of getting everything prepared. And I had this one friend come up and every morning on the announcements, it's like, good luck to our football team or good luck to our so-and-so. And one day he's like, Miss, I swim. Can you announce we have a meet? I was like, absolutely. So then it became, hey, we won yesterday. And I'm like, you were my person to make sure I include this. We had a precious student named Emma who was in the Good News magazine. And she comes in and I'm like, you didn't tell me about the Good News magazine. And she's like, eh. So we make sure that if we see anything our kids are doing, we're throwing it on social media, we're announcing it to peers. I have some kids that are like, please don't tell anybody. And I'm like, sorry, I'm going to tell them because we have to celebrate you. So we definitely want them to be seen. Another piece of that goes to that community building. We have a ton of spirit weeks. I'll promise y'all that I do not make a spirit week that I as a parent cannot prepare for. I never want a kid to feel excluded. So it could even be just crazy sock day, where it's not having to do a whole lot. You have that in your, wear a green sock and a blue sock. But we definitely want to have something that's just a little extra. The middle picture that you see with the gator on the left in the hallway, that is something that our personnel plays. It's called Gator Grab. We have two versions right now. One is there are 10 little tiny gators throughout the building. I personally hid them and I hid them very well. It's for adults only. If one of our adults finds a gator, they bring it to me. They instantly get a prize. I'll go ahead and tell y'all our kids love it because they'll see the gator and they'll be like, I saw so-and-so. And the teachers are like, oh, I gotta go get this gator. So they just have this little incentive. The prizes are something that's super simple. We have another one that's the Gator Grab where it's for one day only. We have a couple we pass around. And again, the kids are not playing, but the kids are so competitive, they want to know exactly what's going on with that. I had a kid the other day tell me, you haven't played Gator Grab this semester. I'm like, we've been back 4 days. Like, I've hidden all the gators everywhere else. We have not played Gator Grab yet. We also, like we mentioned, have the homeroom, we have the lunch, we have the pep rally interactions. We try to do stuff at lunch. Sometimes it's like, hey guys, we're going to play paper, rock, scissors contest. So we just get the kids up out of their seats, but there's a little bit of competition with that. And then at the very bottom on the left, that's an interactive board. That's a new thing we're doing where once a week we have a random question and we roll it in the mornings where the kids come in and they just walk up and answer it. I kind of call it a graffiti board. That day's question was, what song or artist are you currently playing on repeat? And the kids at first were like, they kind of like, what do I do with this? And then by the time the kids released from the gym to go down, I had this horde of kids that were just so excited just to have that adult so we can support. The last thing on that area is the move to stand training. That's something in the past, we've only trained about 50 kids before. This year we are training all of our 7th grade, we're training all of our 8th grade. So when next year rolls in, our 7th and 8th grade are trained, and our 6th grade get that training next year. And the goal for that is creating that positive culture, positive environment, getting rid of anything that makes a kid feel like they are not connected. So that's something we're proud of. And then the last thing you see there are our celebrations. Miss Claire Henderson is in the top left. She was our novice teacher of the year, also became the district teacher of the year. We also each month have a personnel of the month, and we also have students of the month. Citizens Bank is our community partner, and we are so thankful because while the certificate is lovely, cash makes you feel happy so much. So they've given a cash prize for those citizens, those students, and the personnel of the month. And that is all peer voted from the personnel. Our admin team takes those nominations, and then what we do, we have about 20 nominations per month, and then anonymously, if, for example, I wasn't chosen, I still am made aware, hey, somebody nominated you, and here's what they said about you. So just making them feel seen, and even if they don't win that title. The last thing on the celebrations, this is something that is so simple, and it is just parent contacts. I kind of had this thought, and so Mr. Davis, one of our assistant principals, and Dr. Kate Jane we sat down and we were like, we're taking a grade. Each week we're going to do 3 positive parent phone calls. So I got 7th grade. I kind of went back to some of the kids last year when I had to call the parents, and they had that like, oh, it's Miss Eastlick again. So the first one I call, I'm like, hey, it's Miss Eastlick from North Middle. Do you have a minute? And she said, what's wrong? And I said, I just want you to know so-and-so is doing so well. Here's the things we're seeing in this building this year. We just want to celebrate. And she was like, oh my gosh, I usually want to throw up when you call. I'm so happy that you called to tell me this. And so we really are working hard on, if we have had harm in a relationship, number 1, let's fix that. But then number 2, just finding those little pieces of joy. And I've had some barriers with language. So I'll send an email, with some translation. So even reaching out to those people that maybe I'm not comfortable talking with because I can butcher some Spanish, but I can definitely translate in an email. So wanted to highlight that positive environment. And then I do want to mention on the middle part, that's an example of one of those choice boards I mentioned earlier. When talking to students, I'm like, what do you like this year? And several of our 8th grade kids were like, we love getting to pick what we work on. They just love that. So I wanted to celebrate as well. All right, so this is a piece that kind of ties some of our efforts in together. Data is the reason, and this is the measure of how we are doing things. So I did want to share our state report card grade has increased. We went from a D to a C. We also, for our success rate, has increased. Even if it is by 2/10, we are celebrating that because we are working very, very hard for that achievement. And then our growth had massive growth as well. We went from a 1 to a 3. So over on the right side, those are some of the academic data sources that we are using constantly in professional learning communities, as well as in our weekly collaborative plannings. Even if it's just like the teachers are looking and they taught a lesson and they're like, everybody's face was weird. That's a formative assessment where we can come back and be like, why do you think the students didn't get it? What's going on with where they didn't connect? Or if it was only 2 kids, how do you go and reteach something? So I did want to share that piece of data. And then our areas of opportunity, I could spend a whole nother work session on these 2 different areas, but these are the ones that our team really felt like talking about. The first one is our federal ATSI designation. We have been diligently working. This is my 6th year at North Middle. This came to North Middle from the 18-19 school year, where I was not even there. So we're making sure that with every single thing we're given back, we are taking that information and we are moving forward. I did highlight in the middle that for the past 2 years, so if North Middle School did not have a designation the past 2 years, our data would have not qualified for 1. So that exit criteria is really demanding. So we are so working on it. I think our supervisors, our central office staff, it is a district effort. So they are behind us and we appreciate that very much. On a good side to a designation that seems negative, we have gotten gotten over $250,000 in grants that have poured directly into improvement for our students. So I do want to celebrate that data. For our supports for student outliers, this is not a Franklin County problem. This is a society problem where we are seeing several students that have negative social interactions. They don't know how to interact with their peers. They don't have conflict resolution. They have very poor executive functioning skills. And we have right now, so our North Middle School data is out of our students, we have 6 students that would be considered the tier 4 for our discipline. So out of all of our students, it's 1% of our students that our discipline system is not catching. So it sounds like there's a lot of things going on with discipline, but when you break down that data, that's 6 kids that for some reason those disconnects with those functioning skills are really causing them to not be able to interact with their curriculum. So that's something that just as a support for student outliers, we are working on, not just at North Middle, obviously as a society. So that is ending our time at this point. Your time and support is so appreciated. And is there anything that I can address for you at this time from this presentation? And these are the fine people, because when you work in a middle school, you have to be a little crazy. So we wanted to show a fun picture as well as our professional picture. So any questions?
I just appreciate the list of like all the sort of positive ways you're finding to interact, not just with the people who work at your school, but with the students and
Yes.
sort of the, like, you know, calling parents who may not expect a positive phone call. Like that just seems like a really good way to build relationships and
Yes.
help students see themselves differently.
For sure, and
Thanks.
that relationship piece, I've had more parent support this year, and I really think, I call it cold calling. You know, we do not have a problem picking up the phone and being like, hey, we just want a few minutes, and very much, I hate to say like the adults talking, but there's been a lot of barrier of the students getting to the adult first, and it makes it seem like it's school versus, you know, the parent and the student. But when we as a team are having those discussions, we've had a lot of success moving forward. All right, well, thank you guys for your time.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate Ms. Easley really giving attention to celebrating what we may see as a small win, whether it be a 1/10 of a point or 2/10 of a point. With that statement being made, because to that, you have to celebrate it, because we literally have one school that missed being a C by a 1/10 of a point. You have one school that could have been F by a 1/10 or 2/10 of a point. So you have to celebrate those
Little.
as much as possible. All right, Ms. Shields.
Good evening. Dr. Holman asked me to come give you all an update on our virtual academy. Just a little over a year ago, we started this conversation. We recognized in the district we were losing students to homeschool programs. So we wanted to kind of meet them in the middle and provide an opportunity for them to keep them in the district and not lose them to other programs. So Ms. Neitz is in the back, and I've told her she is welcome to chime in. She is serving as the principal of the virtual school in addition to the principal at Swanee Elementary, of course. So and I'm a very transparent person. If you haven't met me, I just like to call it like it is. So when we started Virtual Academy, we are only serving middle grades, 6, 7, and 8. We recognize when you start something new, and I start something new, I want to do it right and do it well, but it does take time to do something right and well. And we're constantly thinking about what we're doing and how we can improve. So with that, we capped our enrollment for virtual school at 30. I had a goal of enrolling 15 students. So about this time last year, I sat in my office and kind of like Ms. Eastlick just said, started cold calling parents. We received lists from different homeschool programs of students who live in Franklin County but are enrolled in their program. And I started calling them, and I think I called a little over 100 probably, sent them letters in the mail to start showing them that we were going to provide this free homeschool virtual program for them. So with all of that, we had some orientation nights. Enrollment came around in late spring. Start school in August. We started with 10 students. I was very excited to have 10, but of course my goal was 15. But one thing I do want to share with you, 7 of those 10 students we regained to the district. So they were not currently enrolled with us anywhere brick and mortar. So we did bring 7 to the district. We have lost some of them along the way. All of the students that have gone, 2 of the ones we have lost chose to go back to their homeschool program. All the other ones that have decided to leave the virtual academy, we kept in brick and mortar. So we kept them here with us. We didn't lose them, all but 2. So we ended the first semester with 2 students enrolled in the virtual program. All of the ones we lost left on their own accord. I think not having that teacher right there with them for some of our students and the level of accountability we were holding them to, they opted to go back brick and mortar. Again, I want to just highlight, though, that was their choice to leave. We didn't force them to leave. So ended the first semester with 8 students, which not where I want it to be. But again, we're looking at what we can do better next year and gain some more students in the virtual academy. So that's virtual academy kind of wrapped up. We are, again, wanting to do things right and well. Our goal long-term is to transition from middle school into the high school grade level, but I think with anything that you do, it does take time, especially when you're thinking about moving into high school. You're looking at credits and graduation requirements and all the things that come with it. And I think when Dr. Holman brought this to my office and we talked about it, starting an online program seemed easy, but then when you wrap into you're starting a school, that's kind of a whole nother level, and it has its own challenges when you don't have someone sitting, you don't have the students coming in to do morale things with, and you don't have parents that are dropping their kids off every morning that's easy to contact. So it came with its own set of challenges. So we're continuing to think about those and make plans, but we will proceed the next school year with still middle grades. Obviously, we hope to increase that enrollment, but that is Virtual Academy. Any questions for me? Thank you. Anything
Thank you,
wanna
Rachel.
add? Thank you. Anything you want to add in that regard?
Now, I would most definitely say, what I appreciate is that our parents, those that signed up for the virtual, quickly come to realize that they were gonna be held to a high, very high standard. And so, because of that, they realized that they were no longer gonna be able to, just every day, they quickly decided, hey, let me get back into a school. And so we, as Ms. Shields said, we're back at our classes. And if that's what virtual school for Frank County is gonna be, to get them back, for them to see how serious we are about education, that's what we'll keep doing.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
And happy School Board Appreciation this
Yeah.
month.
Oh, and thank you for whoever's responsible for this. It was really nice. Appreciate it. I guessed that earlier. We had that discussion.
That's right. This, as Michelle said, this is National School Board Appreciation Month, and so tonight we started it off. You have different, it's a great cook, I don't know, Grace, I don't know which one they got you all.
Q Pies cookies.
Yeah.
Q pies.
Yeah, she's local.
Yeah, they're not from Carrie Holmes Cookies.
Well, and you don't get these 3 that are not here. Be sure you put them up.
Well, I'll let you resolve it then. All right. Next, we have project updates, and once again, as always, I will let you all see that 50% of the way through our annex field house. The Carlton Moore, if you get a chance, we have the vestibules put in, and so Carlton Moore's design was quite different. We were told it was going to be fine, but we, Mr. Hawksmith and I, we always said, I think it can come inside the building. So now Carlton Memorial also has an internal vestibule, so you have to stop by there and see that it looks really, really good. Huntland has some updates as well as the soccer press box and everything has been removed. Can't tell you enough how much I say that every month. Mr. Clark and his crew and what they are knocking out in the district, and really how we're giving attention to be more proactive. So those are project updates. And now on to personnel.
Okay, we're still hiring employees for the district, but we don't have as many right now. Of course, that'll pick up. Very pleased to announce that we do not have any vacant certified positions, so we're very happy. And most of the postings are our continuous posted positions. It's not a whole lot to talk about.
That's good.
As always, if you ever know anyone that wants to drive a bus,
Yeah.
or custodial staff, or food nutrition, we are always open for those.
Is that it?
That's it.
I want to just take a break right here for just a second and say thank you to our student reps who are kind enough to join us. We appreciate you taking your time to come and be with us. Also, we have some leadership Franklin County people here tonight. Ms. Fuller, if you would, you have their names, I believe. If you all would stand when she calls your name.
We have Grayson Baggett, we have Kennedy Hall, Aubrey Stewart, Amy Hofer, Maggie Gibson, Abigail Denton, Kaylee Coker, Caleb Parsons, and Mackenzie Arnold.
We're glad to have y'all tonight. Thank you for coming,
They're pretty good kids.
I'd say.
Several of them are from Broadview, so I can,
I'm sorry, what's the,
I said several are from Broadview, so I can definitely
Yeah.
speak for them.
wait, what is they?
Leadership.
Leadership Franklin
Leadership,
County.
Franklin County.
All right, we'll move on to item H, which is our legislative update. Ms. Marheski?
So the legislature goes into session tomorrow, so things will pick up and there will be more to report next month for sure. But this is just a little bit of a reminder about the Education Freedom Scholarship. So, as you know, the whole voucher thing is something that we've talked about over the last few years. For this year, there were 20,000 spots. This was just kind of a reminder of how the 10,000 for kind of low income, this is the basic chart they were using to decide whether you were eligible for the kind of lower income one. For a family of 4, it was $173,000-ish. So interesting choices there. A reminder also that for this year, the amount that went to private schools was fully funded by the state. So the full $7,295, if that's the right number, came from the state to a private school. But when it comes to the public schools, they fund it at a different percentage. And the percentage varies from county to county. For our county, it's roughly 70%. And so if we go with those as rough numbers, that means that public school, so our county schools, instead of getting $7,295 per student from the state, it means we roughly were getting $5,106 instead. And then the county has to kick in the remaining $2,188 per student. So again, just pointing out the kind of inequity of the system. And the way that it was written into law for last year was that every year that there were, that you kind of hit that number, or at least maybe 75% of that, they would add 5,000 more spots for the next year, which meant that for this year, for this upcoming school year, there were supposed to be 25,000 spots instead of 20. But then apparently Speaker of the House, Cameron Sexton, would like to double the number, so going from 20,000 to 40,000. And just to toss out a couple of things, this year it was around 144 million, but of course the TISA base, the amount per student per year, always goes up. So even if you only left it at the 20,000, it would be more for the next year. Keep this in the back of your mind as we click over to the legislative agenda, the other sheet. And I won't read through all of these. Last week we had the good fortune of meeting with our state senator, Janice Bowling, and our state representative, Iris Rutter, and we kind of went through the legislative agenda and shared our thoughts about all of these things. And the things, items 1 through 5, are also from TSBA, the Tennessee School Board Association's list. So those are on their legislative agenda. They will be talking to legislators on our behalf about these things. So one of them, for instance, is item number 3. Funding for special education preschool students. And we've passed a resolution about this. So we have pre-K, like these peer model pre-K programs where students who have special needs are paired with sort of their peers without special needs. But we don't get, it's not built into the funding formula. So this is mostly supported by the district, while it's also required by law. And so for the last several years, this has been an item that we've pushed legislators to do something about. So last year, both the House and the Senate Education Committees approved this, but then it went to the Finance Committee and it's basically stuck there. TSBA is working on the numbers. They think it might be $100 or so million. The number that the legislators have been given was $250 million. They're like, oh, that's too much money. But again, to keep in mind what I said earlier, $144 million went to private schools, which isn't required by law or anything, but the preschool, which is mandatory to provide, is not funded. So we're hoping this is one of the things. If you have thoughts on this, as always, it's great to share those with your legislators. So there are some additional items here. I won't read through all of those. You're always welcome to go to our agendas and read through those yourself, but I'm sure that we will bring some of these up as the legislative session continues. And again, as always, be in touch with your legislators if you have thoughts about any of these items or anything else related to education. Thanks.
Thank you. That takes us to item H, which is finance. And we have some items there to receive and file. Ms. Jenny? Again, thank you for giving those to us ahead of time.
Receive and file, of course, the December intercategory amendments are just function-to-function changes that happen through the year. The December financial report and the second quarter financial report. Revenues are up, local revenues, most notably sales tax still continues to rise.
Expenditures are up, and personnel and maintenance, which is to expect to take nothing out of here, and nothing to talk about.
Motion to receive and file the December intercategory amendment and the December monthly financial report and the second quarter financial report.
Second.
We have a motion to receive and file the intercategory amendments, the financial report, and the quarterly financial report by Mr. Williams. We have a second by Ms. Schultz. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion carries. Then we have also budget amendments.
And those are, for the most part, aligning budgets. We do have the budget amendment for the FY25 COPS grant, which is the third COPS grant that
The technology department has gotten, to help with technology within our schools, so we're very excited about that. We did get the outcomes funding from the state in December. The Tullahoma City School tuition, we are having to increase that due to increased numbers of students. And we do have guidance from and those are Franklin County residents that live within Tullahoma City limits. So we simply have to pay our portion of tax revenue. So, and then we have guidance from the comptroller's office to set up a new liability reserve that coincides with the new policy that you have passed.
5.110.
So that is, that $35,000 is just to initially set that fund up. And there's a resolution that is included, basically says we're putting an additional $35,000 in that reserve. And then annually, we will add $5,000 to it until that reaches a cap of $50,000. And we'll just maintain it there,
Right, as needed.
So the other two for approval are just the pre-grant application for that tax grant, which is just paperwork, and the resolution to set up the reserve for the public.
Motion to approve the January 26th GP budget amendment, the FY25 grant, COPS 25, and then the January 26th reserve fund balance amendments.
Second.
We have a motion to approve by Mr. Williams. We have a second by Ms. Marhevsky. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion carries as well. That takes us down to new business, and there's several policies there. A lot of them seem to be housekeeping and updating, but I'll let you speak to that, Dr. Russell.
TSBA sent a couple of policy recommendations mid-year, the charter school applications policy 1.901 and the expenses and reimbursement policy through 2.804. The charter school applications, I think that's a change in statute, and the expenses and reimbursement is due to a change in, I think, interpretation from the comptroller's office. The other two policy changes came from Ms. Phillips, so she may want to speak to those.
That would be the 2 point.
Compensation line item transfer authority.
And that's just adding the language that the federal projects don't have to be approved by the school board. They are approved by E-Plan.
And then the 5.110, which is the one that,
Yeah, we keep talking about that one. It's not the third or fourth time we've brought it to you. And it just, I think just, I guess some or some, as we're looking at the policy, just making sure that we're doing the right thing for all these teachers that would qualify for this and following the statutes. And so Jenny and I have talked about this one a few times, and we think this might be the final version.
okay. Any questions, board members? If not, we'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve policy 1.901, 2.201, 2.400, 2.804, and 5.110.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Williams to approve the policies as presented, and we have a second by Ms. Marhevsky. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? That carries as well. Takes us to the next item, which is textbook adoption for 26-27. Those seem to be mostly CTE. I believe I'm correct in that.
This is just kind of an FYI of what's coming. We have not made an adoption yet, but probably soon after spring break, we will come to you guys with a approval for an adoption. It is very heavy in CTE, Miss Suzanne's world, and then the only gen ed course is high school wellness, so a very light adoption year. Next school year, we'll look at adopting social studies.
You already have your committees together for that, or are you working on that?
For social studies, we do not.
I'm talking about for these, the
For
CT.
this year,
We're working on those.
Okay,
So do you want us to hold these until next?
yeah, it's not for approval, it's just
yeah, this is
FYI.
just an FYI,
Okay.
what's coming up in the next few months.
Alrighty, then surplus items for gov deals. Mr. Clark has listed there some vehicles that are inoperable that he wishes to list on gov deals. And those, some of them have been out of operation for some time now. The infamous ambulance that they used to work out of is being one of them. And then there's a van and a couple of trucks, and it seems like there's a box truck as well.
Do you want to take that one home?
No, I do not.
There will be a service for the
Yeah, a call. I got you. So we need,
Motion to approve the surplus items for sale.
Second.
we have a motion to approve the surplus items to go on gov deal, a second by Mr. Williams and a second by Ms. Schultz. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion carries as well. There's a little section on there for discussion, and I'm not going to bore the audience with this. If you want to go on and read, you're more than welcome to do so. This particular month, we're required to do basically a board self-evaluation where the board members fill out questionnaires and rubrics to come up with a weighted score, basically. The highest average score that you could get on this is a 4. We wound up with a 3.25 composite, which I don't think is very bad at all. There was some really good constructive criticism in the remarks, well taken on there, and you're more than welcome to go in and take a look at it if you choose to do so. Are there any observations or anything you all want to add on that?
Are we having a workshop in January, at the end of January?
Yes. Yes.
I would also suggest we have a special call meeting sometime in January to discuss the upcoming director search, whatever we decide to do there, but we need to get that process rolling as well.
I don't know whether you want to do so or not, but we.
We've got one in
Yeah,
January.
January the 31st,
Mm-hmm.
I believe,
Thought
on
that was a
Saturday.
workshop.
Well, we could do both.
That's
You can
the,
adjourn one and
that's
start
the
other,
athletic.
however you want to do it, but you'll be
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
What do you know when about?
Like, if it's that last Saturday of like the 1st or whatever,
31st?
It's the
31st.
31st.
I can't come.
That's the date that we had set for. to talk about athletics on the 31st at 8 o'clock that morning. Anyway, we can talk some more about that, but we do need to try to get that going for sure. And if you don't want to do both of them that morning, then we need to choose another time, you know, to do that. It stays off. Sorry. But, yeah, well, we'll just try to get out a memo and see when we get everybody for the director discussion. But I'm assuming we'll go on the 31st at 8 for the athletic discussion, because that is the time that the AD said that they would be available, and we could meet with them. Down here on the schedule of meetings and information, there's several things listed there. But there's a couple of things that we need to take a look at, date-wise, if I can find the right sheet where I wrote them down. The next school board meeting will be on the 9th of February rather than the 16th. And the 16th of February is actually the Legal and Legislative Conference for TSBA that's in Franklin. Also, on February the 9th will be the County Commission School Committee meeting at 5 o'clock. So you might want to make those changes so that you do have it there. Is there anything further? If not, we'll
Motion to adjourn.